So Kurdistan is actually located in the northern portion of Iraq. The Kurdish region is northern Iran, northern Iraq, parts of Syria and parts of Turkey. But when we're speaking of Kurdistan, we're gonna speak primarily about northern Iraq. In Kurdistan, Iraq, there's about 6 million people. So people think of Iraq and they think of, war-torn, desolate. Here, you land in the airport, a well-lit city, very modern. Construction's going on like crazy. There's international organizations that are there. So it really is a booming area right now in northern Iraq, especially in Erbil. We've been in Iraq, we've been in Kurdistan since 2019. In the beginning, it was a lot more like relationship building. So we did a lot of shaking hands, kissing babies, and handing out food. It's progressively gotten bigger to the point to where now we still do the meetings, the meet and greets. We still do the food distribution and closing distributions, but now we also do some medical training in some government agencies and private agencies around the region. Sometimes we'll do medical training with government personnel as far as like personal security details. We were able to work with the youth KRD or even civil defense police. We did that on this last trip. We were able to offer some medical training to the civil defense police, and they had said it was the most realistic training they had ever had.
So the first training group that we did with volunteer KRD was successful. We had 7 students over the course of 2 days. We were able to teach them some basic first aid, and we went into the March protocol and taught them some trauma care. Once we started doing practical applications, they got a lot more invested and a lot more active, and I think they really enjoyed it. The second group that we trained was the Civil Defense Department for the Interior Ministry, which was some of the firefighters along with a couple other volunteers and administrative workers. But we provided the same basic training. We were able to go into a little bit more depth since they had a base level of knowledge already. But it was really cool working with them because they were very receptive to the training we did. They had a lot of ambition and excitement to take the class. They asked a lot of great questions and they picked up on the information very quickly. It was just a really fun group of people to have, and I'd be honored to train them again anytime.
Preparing them with emergency response, primarily medical emergencies and trauma response for the rescuers. We've been preparing for the past few days and offered a 2-day course to introduce them to primary skills such as CPR, tourniquet applications, and casualty carries and how to set up a casualty collection point and triage.
Along with that, we were able to work with 5 schools in the Saran district, and we did solar panel installs for these schools. Now these schools, some have electricity, some don't. The majority of them are running on generator power alone. They were telling us that there's actually 2 shifts to the schooling system. So the first shift, the early morning shift, they'll come in and they'll be running on generator power, and then in the evening shift or the afternoon shift, they run on government power.
And as far as the schools go, these children are so great. They have such challenges in their learning environment. The electricity is not there, and they, in spite of all of that, they want to learn, and they do learn, and they pay attention, and they can't wait to better themselves more in these conditions that are not like in America.
So my role on this trip has kind of been just going around to a bunch of the schools that we're doing solar panel installs on, making connections and really just seeing the conditions that these kids are learning in. We've kind of just been going around meeting a lot of people and learning their stories and assessing some of the schools and what kind of future work may need to be done in them.
of the schools we went to was called the Yellow Flower. This was located smack in the middle of Saran, which has been great because we've done work in Saran with their police departments and their government agencies there already. So we kind of had a little bit of an in the city already. But when we went to this school, it was an all-girls school, and they were telling us about how all they wanted was the opportunity to learn in an environment that was conducive for success. I mean, they compared it, said, we just want to be like every other child everywhere else.
I really have so much to say about this school because we have the potential as students, and the potential in every student in this school is very great. It could build a very, very stable future to our country, and even knowing and telling everyone our nations and growing out. Of course, for this type of students and the very great teachers and as principal as our staff, they are very great and generous and as well as so talented. For this building, I would love one day, even if I'm not here, I would really appreciate and honor if someone rebuild our building, even do something great to our building.
So here they have what they call government power, and it's not always reliable. There are brownouts, rolling blackouts. The schools are small and antiquated. There's so many kids coming to one school, they actually have a day shift and then a night shift school. In the winter time, when the government power goes out, the teachers hold the flashlights at the chalkboard so the kids can see. And we had the opportunity to come here and help make that situation a little bit better. And by the grace of God, we were able to come. We were able to do 5 schools. We have plans and provisions for more and bigger things for these schools.
One of the girls that was there, she told us straight out, she's like, I can go to a private school if I want to. I can leave this place. But she's like, the teachers here care so much about the students that I don't want to leave. Come to find out, she's actually the niece of one of the government officials that we've been working with. She loves showing up and seeing her friends. She loves showing up and seeing her teachers, but she feels that attachment to the building itself because this is where she's grown up. Smack in the middle of town, she lives 15-minute walk away. So she's like, I want to be part of what's happening here. She hopes one day, she said, to walk by and continue to see the improvements and the smiles on the other kids' faces. It was kind of heartbreaking to see that and to hear that from them, but they were genuine. We've had a great conversation with their English teachers as well, and they were saying it's super important that we have dialogue between Christians and Muslims. The Yellow Flower School is a mix. This is a Christian and a Muslim school. It's actually a Christian and a Muslim culture and society in Saran. So it's pretty awesome that we found a school where both Christians and Muslims can dialogue to one another and not fear any retribution from one another. It's pretty awesome.
We were all the same, but we've all had different opportunities. And one of the things that makes my heart so happy is to see the bright, shining eyes and the genuine, true love that they share with us. And I'm looking forward to doing whatever, however, and whenever God allows me to come back. I will come back time and time again to help these people with anything I can.
I've seen quite a few different schools around the world, but this one kind of is a little bit different. There's a lot of schools that don't have any electric. There's a lot of schools that walls are literally crumbling and falling apart, and teachers just really undersupplied for what they need to do. The Bible tells us that we're all created equal, and no children is loved any less than another. And it's really a unique place, just the way everything is so torn here from birth, and all of the chaos in this country. You really can't understand it until you see it firsthand. You can read about it, but it's just not the same. These kids need help, and they're neglected by a lot of people. So
the students were just super appreciative of the fact that we would come and visit their school and just think about possibilities of how we can help them. And so we're going to dig our feet in. That's where we're going to plant our flag, so to say, and start work there. We have the solar panels that are installed already. That's in. The next stage is going to be a roof project because none of these schools have been updated since the 80s. This is the oldest school actually in the region. It was built in the 70s. And so there's some major repairs that need to be done, and we're going to do what we can do to see if we can just really bring up the appearance, but also the functionality of the school system there. And so we're asking you to continue to pray for those relationships as we continue to build them.
از نام من سارا محمد حسن سلیم که شهیدیمه از سال 74 یا چویم ایرانه چند سال ایران من پاش چویم سویدجی 2014 من از ابوی ما خوبخش هاتی ما کردستان اکثر چویم چیای شنگاره 6 حیوازل چیای شنگاره بوم حتی شنگاره رزگار بوی پشتی هنگی وجبه دوی پشمرگا از چویم کوبانه از مدت اکل کوبانه جیامان گل پشمرگا پشتی هنگی از زور ما کردستان و جاره قدی من یه بولگری اول کمپت شنگاره ولچیای شنگاره و جارو بارات چون و اول مدت که دریجه جیه و دبتا نزگا 11 سال از الویر شورت کم و از گل اکا پدر خوش بجی شوله خود چکو از هاری کاریا فقیرات کم.
I gotta say that I am very amazed with the Kurds in general, especially the rescuers, because as we were going through the course and we were talking about, medical response and emergencies, they were asking questions from a deep area of knowledge and experience, like they've dealt with emergencies, they deal with trauma every single day. Seeing how they respond and how they do their utmost best while having practically nothing is very encouraging. These people, they don't give up. They have a wonderful heart, wonderful spirit, very hospitable, and they have a deep care about everyone, not just Muslims, but Christians, Kurds, Arabs alike. And it's been an absolute pleasure getting to work with them.
In Kurdistan, there's a lot of things that remind me of home and are even nicer than some things I have at home. The people here are incredible. The amount of patriotism that the Kurds have for their country and just heart, the leadership here is absolutely incredible. They all have a strong desire to serve their people and want what's best for everyone. It's an honor to be here and be a part of this region and to serve these people that are just so grateful for everything that we've able to do, and we're hoping to do so much more.
The Lord has put this region of the world on our hearts. Actually, we've been serving in this region now for about 23 years. And during our time here, have really had such a heart for orphans, for widows, for victims of war. Be serving the Lord in the ways that we have, working in orphanages with children who have come from very, very hard pasts. And in doing so has really just opened our hearts and our home for these children.
And actually years ago, the Lord gave a scripture verse to my husband and I. In Isaiah 43 verse 5, it says, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you. And I will bring your children from the east and gather you from the west. And I will say to the north, give them up, and to the south, do not hold them back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth." And when we heard that scripture verse, we just took that as this promise, that the Lord wanted to entrust us with children that don't have a home, that don't have a family. Right now, the Lord has been able to bless us with a little girl from Ethiopia and 4 kids that have been adopted from Brazil. And you can share about the latest.
Yeah, and so as we've been working with the kids locally here in the orphanages, of course our heart and home has been open even for that. And it's been our prayer, trusting the Lord for a miracle. And just, 10, 11 months ago, out of nowhere, we received a phone call saying this little boy needed a home. And so with great excitement, we said yes, but at the same time, fully trusting the Lord for miracles. And so every night, as we pray for this little boy before he goes to bed, we've been asking the Lord for his birth certificate, his ID, his passport, and court orders that he could officially be part of our family. And after 10 months of knocking on every door we knew, in just a moment, the Lord did the impossible. And now we have that birth certificate, we have the ID, the passport, and court orders. You can pray with us. We're still trusting him for a visa back to the US to finalize everything there. But our God is so big and so able, and we're so grateful.
And we know, what the enemy means for bad, that God can turn around and use it for good. We know that the future of this little boy would have been a very bad future, possibly being a future fighter or, just living in a place where there's continual war. Actually, one of the orphanages that's there in Syria that we would go visit just got shut down because of war. And so we're wondering, what happened to all of those kids? And so to know that the Lord has entrusted this little boy into our home, we're believing that even with his name, we felt to give him this name. And with this name, that it's he was rejected, by his people, but that God is gonna raise him up to be somebody who's gonna turn around and be able to be used to show love, show hope to the people around. And so, yes, God is a God of miracles, and so when he gives you a word, when he gives you a promise, stand on that word and continue to contend for it.
The one thing that's been great has been the opportunity to not just meet government officials, but build solid relationships with them. That's opened up a lot of doors, even to the point to where now they're inviting us to their homes. We used to meet at their conference rooms or on their bases. Instead, they're like, hey, come to our house for dinner, and we'll share meals with their family. It's an amazing experience, and we really feel welcomed.
It was a culture shock coming here. I didn't know what to expect. Blew me away that everyone is so polite and so generous, and the food is so awesome, and everything. The landscapes are beautiful. The shopping centers are beautiful and amazing. And I just can't say how much the food is better than food in America. It's crazy, but it is. This culture, they're so generous. They're so paying attention to your needs. I wish we had some of these things back in America. They're more caring about you than themselves.
So when people think of Iraq, right away your head goes to like concrete buildings blown up, rebar sticking out, fires. Some of it is that way, don't get me wrong, but some of the beautiful things we saw are, I mean, there's a lot of American culture over here. There's malls, there's gyms, there's just normal life that you can definitely see all around you. And the Kurdish people really do love Americans. And the people that we've met along the way have been really welcoming and very hospitable. And the hospitality that you get here is unlike anything I have ever seen, and you're welcomed with open arms. I usually leave a little bit of my heart wherever I go and travel, and there's definitely a piece of it being left here. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and there's a lot of people that really need help. And even if it's not direct help that you guys can give, or anybody can give, it's just spreading the word about what's going on here, and opening people's mind to, and opening people's mind and opening people's hearts to what's really going on all across the world. Like I said, this place has been divided since the creation of time, and it really still is. And even learning all the things I'm learning about all this stuff over here, it's hard to really understand how divided everybody is. And it's our job as Christians to try and close that gap and be one people, because that's what we're called to do.
Imagine if this was your children. Imagine if your children grew up in these kind of conditions, in these unsettling environments. Wouldn't you want someone to help your children? It would be just so awesome if the next generation of children growing up would see that we can all get along, we can all live together. I would like to be a small part of that, if God will allow it.
So they were very appreciative of Five Stone, and they are looking forward to continue with your support.
As a storyteller, photographer, filmmaker, whatever you want to call it, it's really cool to see God is working, not just, in our backyards domestically, but also internationally as well, specifically the Middle East. Kurdistan, I never thought I'd ever be able to, go over there, nor that I ever wanted to because of growing up and the perception I had of Iraq. There's trade-offs. There's a lot of things that we have here better than over there, but I would say the more important things over there, I think they have better than over here. So to really see God is working through everybody across the world, and just being able to pick up the call here, going over there and, showcase stories over there. It's just been a pleasure, a privilege to be amongst them, eat with them, break bread with them. Just being a part of their world, their story here, and I just can't wait to see what their story has to say, 5, 10, 20 years from now. So it's been a privilege, and I can't wait to go back for sure.
So as we continue our work, I first want to say thank you. Thank you to all of you who've been praying for us. Thank you to all of our donors who've been consistently and faithfully giving. That's what makes this work possible. Salvation is free, but we know that ministry costs. And so without you, none of this happens. I'm going to invite you to continue to pray, continue to be part of our ministry, partner with us as we continue to spread the love of Jesus in these hard, dark places.